Hello. Episode 701, Brain Kitty Podcast. Susan Louise Meister Butler here.
Sarah Whitney Rice Louise Butler.
Rice Louise Butler is great. You should legally change your name. Just think about it.
What if when Eli and I tie the knot, they give me that space to put what do you want your name to be? Right? I'm just gonna change it to Sarah Louise Butler. And he's gonna be like, what is this?
Butler.
Meister Butler. And he's gonna be like, that's not even my last name.
Sorry, Eli.
Yeah.
We have priorities over here.
No.
Sarah, you didn't even share how your trip was last episode.
My trip to Florida?
Your spring break.
Oh, it was so much fun. I am so ready to retire in Florida. I can't even tell you.
I know.
Can
Living the dream.
That clock along?
I think I
got bridge to play.
You and I are supposed to, retire Golden Girls style, but I don't know if I can do it if you're still into pickleball at that time.
Oh, I'm definitely going to still be into pickleball. I just purchased official pickleball court shoes last night.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
I don't want to do anything that has designated shoes.
Oh, yeah. That is so funny because so many of the activities I do have designated shoes.
Right.
That is
Rock climbing.
So true. Climbing, need its own shoes. Hiking, what do you want? Trail running? Backpacking? We got multiple pairs. I got different ones. Are they waterproof? Gore-Tex? What you need?
Right. I think I don't even know if I still have them, but if I do, the last and only pair of sneakers that I had was from the ruins.
Oh,
they were given to us.
My God.
Unless it's pretend fashion kind,
Right.
For real. No
But
thanks.
You know what?
Different strokes.
Different strokes. Yeah. I was thinking about I wouldn't change it for anything. I feel it's Susie and I were just talking about this before we got on the podcast. I think I had a very different life in the past.
Yes, you did.
And even Eli will be like, I can't believe when you tell me stories about the kind of life you had before. I
love
who
that
you are
he's
now.
Experiencing this.
He's like, who is this? Because this is not what you say.
Well, you've had so many lives. It's not just that and this. It's rockabilly, period.
Oh, my God. Right?
Tuesday Sacrifice, goth talk.
Yeah.
That's what
so
her podcast
funny.
would be now.
Goth talk. That totally would be it. Yep. That's so true. In fact, when I was in Florida, I met some of Eli's parents' friends, and they were asking me something about the tattoos, and I was like, listen, nobody should be allowed to get tattooed before the age of 25, maybe 30, because do I want to be tattooed? Yes. Do I want naked women and 2 revolvers pointing at my hoo-ha? No, not so much. I didn't say that last
I actually like
part,
those tattoos.
I know, I do too.
They look cool.
Yeah, they look cool. Sometimes I just feel like it's false advertising with this pattern. I'm not that cool. I'm not that cool.
Mm-hmm.
You want some facts? I got some facts. That's what I got for you.
I need your advice.
Oh, I love giving my advice.
You do love giving advice. Okay. So coming up this weekend is Steel City Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
And I am going because I purchased...
I love whatever's going to come. Did the costume come first or did the Comic-Con ticket come first?
I don't know. There is no costume.
Oh, too bad.
I purchased a VIP meet and greet with Kelsey Grammer, a.k.a. Frasier.
Oh, my gosh. This is amazing. This is amazing. Wow, you really sat on that info for a long time of us talking.
I totally forgot, actually. During our break between episodes, I was like, oh, I forgot. I need to ask her advice about this because...
I feel like he's the one you should ask advice. That's his whole shtick.
Right. I mean,
that was a Frasier joke for anybody out there who gets it.
Yeah. Tossed salad and scrambled eggs or something. Isn't that the theme?
Scrambled eggs.
And it's weird because I love Cheers, but I never did actually get into Frasier, which is silly.
Love Frasier. I
just don't like how they drink coffee. I don't understand how this man who is at a bar every day suddenly is going to Starbucks. Makes sense.
I feel like not a lot of it takes place at the actual coffee shop.
I know, but it's the essence. It's like I'm being critical of the character development.
You're like, well, he just switched to a lighter high.
He matured.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I want to know, I need to be strategic about my time and what I'm going to say. And I want it to be memorable, and maybe they could think like, hey, I like this gal. We should be friends or whatever.
What do you got? What are we working with so far? What are your strategies?
What do you say to
you do this in real life? You are excellent. You're going to crush it. 10 out of 10. No problem.
Well, I think part of my problem is that I've never been to any of the cons. And so, I don't know the general vibe and stuff.
Let me just fill you in.
Yes.
You will stand out as somebody who may offer him a different kind of conversation than what he's used to at the typical con.
Tell me what the people that go there are like.
We can say they're fans, big time fans.
Yeah,
and they are enthusiastic,
and they are encyclopedic,
fact filled.
Yeah.
Engaged and participating, but also not paying attention to anything. That's it's like everybody's. I imagine it's what it would be like to walk around a carnival or remember when we went to the OC Fair? You and I went to the fair with me, where I'm like, oh, look at this over here. Oh, what's that over there? Where I'm very present and engaged, but hard to corral and I might walk into somebody and I'm not going to pay attention. High likelihood of getting lost. This feels like maybe you're Comic-Con goer.
Okay.
And I would have a lot of similarities.
When people buy the VIP experience, do you think that they tend to be just like the super fans that?
Yes.
Okay. And then what do you think they say to the celebrity?
I think they're going to review their favorite moments and they're going to do exactly what I did when I met Sarah Silverman. Hey, let me tell you my favorite joke. Oh, no. It was on this album at this time, this minute. Let me tell it to you right now. That's what they're going to do. And then they're going to go, that's great. Thanks. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know, because I am the person who is that. I am that person.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Don't be like me.
So do you think that I should or should not gush?
Definitely gush. Susie, that's your bread and butter. That's like...
that is sort of my thing.
What you think?
Right.
Do I want you to not breathe too? Well, come on.
Well, and so he's a conservative fella. He's not...
that's right. That's right. I do remember this from Real Housewives.
Oh, okay.
Because he was married to...
Camille.
And...
And this was part of the story.
Yeah.
And he has become more religious. I don't know if it's because once you've said you're out in Hollywood, you're a conservative, then you kind of have to go down that road of content. So the movie he just made.
Did he get a new wife that was conservative, that was religious?
He does have another wife now. He's got 7 kids. Can you believe that?
Whoa.
Yeah. So anyway, he's become, I thought that could be my in because he was on Kelly and Ryan. Uh-huh. And he was crying about this movie that he made that's religious because he was so moved by it. And I was like, oh, this is his thing now. Okay.
Go that direction.
And just be like, I am.
As a doctor of religious studies, yes.
Okay. Finally, it's going to come in handy.
Totally. This is also a time where maybe some of those elbow patches on your, I know the blazer you have with that. You can be like, samesies. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think you should. I think you should wear something that accentuates.
He's a boob man. Is that what you're saying? He's
I don't
a
know.
boob
I just
man?
I feel like you are his type.
That is so true.
Yeah. So I think if you just go out there and just be you.
It's like the first time I would actually take the advice, like, just be yourself.
Yes. This is perfect. Put the tits on display.
Mm-hmm.
Got the blonde hair going. He's into this. We got like a religious,
but with an edge
background, but with an edge, and experience and in the celebrity world and knowledge of what goes on behind this. This is great. This is great for you.
Okay. Another
oh my
thing
God, are we going to be best friends with Kelsey Grammer? I can't wait.
Another thing that's been great for me is modern fertility, and here's why.
Great for everyone.
It's great for everybody because it empowers you to know about your body and especially your lady parts, and like whether you have eggs that are ready for hatching or if you have red flags. PCOS is a big one that people worry about. And what you do is you get a little test to take it home, and you just send it back to the people at Modern Fertility. And in a few days, you get your results emailed to you, and you learn so much about yourself. And then if you have questions, you can talk to an expert there. Yes. And it's a bargain.
Like, deal of the century. Would cost you thousands of dollars if you got these tests done on your own, like in a lab.
Yeah. And
this
so
you could do from the privacy of your own home.
Right. You don't have to leave the house. No. And it's a bargain. And everybody has questions, hormone levels and all that. Everybody's out of whack, I feel like, in the last few years. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. That means your test will cost $159, which is a fraction of what it would cost at a fertility clinic. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy. And I always say they also have Ozempic. I know you people are real into that. I see you on social media.
There you go.
Getting all skinny. Okay. All right. Well, that's good advice. I will do my best with Kelsey
you
Grammer.
Have nothing to worry about.
I do love him. I do want to say thank you for the laughter. I always say that to comedians
because
that's a
great thing to say. Thank you for the laughter.
They do improve our lives, even though maybe they think their job is silly sometimes. It's like, I'm so thankful for having a side splitter every now and then.
Yeah. And that
right.
That was like, got you through tough times.
It really did. It still does. So any hoodles. Okay. Let's talk about this. I thought this was an interesting subject because I feel like there's a lot of angles that we can take it from. Okay. So this was in the Washington Post, and apparently a Catholic organization bought data that, is you can get from apps like that people, whatever. And then found priests and stuff that were using like Grindr and dating apps and hookup apps. And so like they bought the data legally. There's nothing illegal about it. And then they used all this stuff. And it took a long time. Like even if you have all the data, you still need to know how to interpret it.
Totally.
Just to find individual people, like needle in a haystack type stuff. And see if like they're going to like gay baths or doing.
We're gonna worry about the gay stuff when all you guys got your hands down the little boy's pants. Come on, what the fuck is happening?
Right. So I read this article and it was so interesting.
Resources need to be reallocated to research some other.
Well, it wasn't the church. It was like a nonprofit organization that claims that they're interested in, I guess you might call it accountability or making sure that their clergy are, living up to their vows. And so, okay, the number one point of interest to me is just that this data, it's not just priests that can be found. All of us.
Yeah.
And what annoys me is that, again, like we talked about last episode, the government is not regulating what can be done with this data. And that is the problem. I know people get mad at individual apps, like they sell our data or they're watching us. How about we create laws that will minimize that impact or direct it in the way that is manageable? So that is my first thing. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely agree with you. Mm-hmm. That it makes me I'm hesitant now to get anything done, like any test done or anything, because all that information just is there, and it just makes me a little nervous. Mm-hmm. Not like, and I'm not even, it's like
you're not the paranoid type,
right? And I mean, it's like, how can this possibly be used against me in the future in a way that I won't know about? Like,
yeah, like you're trying to imagine stuff that doesn't even exist anymore. Yeah. Or yet, I should say.
Yes. Like, I'm worried in some situation, is somebody going to see, oh, she was diagnosed with ADHD, so now we can't hire her to do this or that, whatever it is.
I think about that with life insurance. Like I filled out this application one time, and the question was about like, have you been treated for like anxiety or depression or this or that in the last 5 years? And if you checked yes, you were then booted off, ineligible for this particular.
Oh, so you had to make it through the pandemic fine and dandy, or just repressing all of your feelings. God forbid you actually talk to somebody during that time. And
I understand it on one hand, because all of that is just algorithmic. So it's like actuaries just determine how long you'll live based on these variables. So if you have a comorbidity of depression and anxiety, whatever, they are basing it on math. It's not meant to discriminate.
But what they're not taking into consideration are the preventative factors and the things like, I bet on there it doesn't say how good are your relationships.
Yeah, they don't say, do you meditate?
Correct.
Right.
That's the part that is not fair.
Good point.
That is the stuff that I just read, that there was the most extensive longitudinal study on age by the Harvard School on Aging or something like that. Harvard study on age. It was like 90 years this longitudinal study has been going on.
Yeah.
On people's happiness. And it's all the stuff that we talk about all the time. But the number one across the board thing that was the biggest determiner of health and happiness and longevity are the quality of your relationships. So if they're going to be like, oh, you got this, but they're not asking me, how often are you hanging out with your friends?
Well, and that's just if you've been treated for it. It didn't even ask, do you have anxiety? Because a lot of people have it and don't get treatment.
Right.
I thought they don't live as long.
And some people come to see me thinking that they have something. And then I go, actually, you don't even meet the diagnostic criteria of this because you haven't had this for more than 6 months, or you don't have it in all these categories. It doesn't show up in all these different areas. This is more just a phase of life issue, whatever it may be. So I don't like that.
I know. And it speaks to your point about how you think you're doing the right thing and then it could be used against you, whatever. In this case, of course, not as if the priests are thinking they're doing the right thing, going on Grindr looking for a beach or whatever. Right. But it is, sure, they made a vow, but they made the vow to God. I mean, they didn't make it to you.
Right. And
but I thought that was the second point that I thought was interesting, because for me, the idea of demanding celibacy and abstinence is ridiculous. So I'm looking at it through a biased lens to begin with. Mm-hmm. But if I were devout and I believed that this was, right and virtuous, and that these leaders ought to be celibate and abstinent, then do their parishioners have any right to say, well, you should get fired or we should get a new priest because you are getting it.
That's not even saying that they are. And there's nothing that says thou shalt not go on Grindr.
Right.
So, can you come after somebody for reading a book that, like, if they read a romance novel, you can do the same thing? Like, maybe it's just...
I think that is a fair point. I've even used that with my mom when she talks about, gay relationships, which, she believes they're sinful. But that's the sex part. And we don't know who's having sex.
Right.
Unless you're sitting there watching.
Right.
I mean, even if people live together, they may or may not be active.
Right.
So how...
Okay. That's like a technicality that I feel like they need to... So, okay. 2 men. Bert and Ernie. Different beds. Hanging out. Living together for the rest of their lives.
Right.
No problem. No problem. As soon as that orange goes into that yellow, I think those are the colors that Bert and Ernie are, if you were wondering what I'm referring to.
That's when they broke the rule. This is letter of the law versus spirit of the law.
Yeah, and now I'm trying to think in that relationship who would be the top and who would be the bottom.
I think we all know.
Do we?
Who do you think?
You think Bert is top?
Yeah, I do.
So I think he's kind of repressed, and maybe he uses that as his that. It's like a switcheroo. Like he's
so domineering, though.
That maybe he wants to switch it up in the bedroom, and that's where like Ernie's like,
got you. Okay,
it's crazy.
Yeah, right. Good point. Yeah. Who am I to say?
I'm just saying. We might have the most pushback and like people like write it about everybody. This. They're going to be like, whoa. Ernie is definitely a bottom. Bert is definitely a top. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they're right though, because I don't really understand how that all works.
Right. And I don't think you can. I think and also sometimes it's not like they switch it up.
It's not obvious. Yeah. And it's not always the same. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, at any rate.
Didn't think this conversation was going to go to Muppet sex, did you? But here we are.
I really didn't. I guess I was just playing devil's advocate in my own mind about like, is it fair when your spiritual leaders make promises and they're supposed to model certain behavior? Is it fair to hold them accountable in ways like this, where they didn't know they were going to be watched or anything?
I think no.
And what,
obviously,
why do you say, like, what is the sort of argument?
In the same way. Okay. So,
because remember, people are bankrolling this. The laity is paying for the clergy, right?
Yeah. Okay. So as a therapist, there are times so we are mandated reporters. If somebody is my client and I hear something that is reportable, I am mandated. I must report it. When I'm a camp counselor, all those things, mandated reporter. When I'm just a citizen out about in the world, it's like I take it, and I'm not. They'd say when we're doing our like law and ethics exam, if you are not wearing the therapist hat at the time, then you abide by the rules of like a regular person. Like if I'm out, doing like, grocery shopping, there is a duty, but not a mandatory need to report. So you can report, and it's not going to count. Like you're not going to get in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that you have to do if you're not wearing the therapist hat. So I feel like if he's not wearing the priest, what do they call it? The collar. If the collar isn't on.
The collar is always on, though.
Is that but
that's how it is.
That's not fair.
Maybe they should think about, instead of Grindr, maybe they should try Dipsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think they would get fired for that.
That we're just like playing out things in our own mind. It's using the imagination. Nobody gets hurt.
Yes. Dipsy Stories is where it's at. You take a quiz, or I guess you wouldn't call it a quiz, like a questionnaire about your interests and what gets your motor running.
It's like a cosmopolitan quiz. Like, what do you like to do? Yeah.
What turns you on? What are you into? Yes. What's your love language? Whatever. And then it will suggest stories that will maybe get you hot and bothered. Maybe
this might be why my stories were all about sex while camping and sex on a hike.
Oh, God.
You think I'm joking? I am not. There was a really hot threesome story that I listened to camping. I wasn't camping. The people in the story were camping.
These are sexy audio stories, or some of them are just soothing and maybe will help you go to sleep and have sweet dreams. You know what I mean?
Sweet dreams.
You can always find something new, and they do try to offer you ones that are specific to you: wellness, sexy, sleep, whatever. It's your me time. For listeners of the show, Dipsy's offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/braincandy. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/braincandy, dipsystories.com/braincandy.
Yes.
Okay. What about this though? So you were using yourself as a therapist of like on the job or off the job.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a gray area in terms of like, are priests ever not
on the
job?
Right.
But I guess I would say if I went to a therapist and then somehow found out that they were dysfunctional, maybe they're actively a heroin addict, or, or maybe they beat their wife or something, which would be breaking like the sacred bond of like trust, because you think, this person's supposed to be one thing. They're supposed to model this good behavior, and it's so far away from that. Some people would argue that that's what the priests are doing, especially because they made a vow.
Incongruent like actions, that the actions are incongruent with the things that they're saying.
Now they're human, of course.
Right.
But that's why in religion, you often hear the term homosexual lifestyle rather than act. Like when you lie, I'm lying. But like the homosexual lifestyle is more broad to them, which is why, maybe just living like Bert and Ernie would be not.
Yeah, because it's not the action. You're right. It's what the action implies, that you are falsely representing who you are.
Yeah, maybe they
like,
think
I suppose, if I were like a therapist that was saying like, I'm I work in like substance abuse or like recovery, and I'm out like fucking getting loaded every weekend, that would be not cool.
Yeah.
That would be definitely like, I don't want that therapist.
But what if they're the best therapist in the world? Then it's like, I don't know. You have to reconcile
if I'm like helping somebody with boundaries. Look, I am terrible at setting them, and I have terrible communication with people in my own family and working things out. But man, I am going to be great at teaching you how to communicate with your family.
Well, right. I mean, everybody's human.
Situation. Yeah, that's the part. Is like, I think what we have to look at is more the people who are like morally objecting to that, and if what you're objecting to isn't even like giving the person like permission to be a human.
For me, that's why the vow is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to update this shit. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard this recently. Like, aren't we getting a little like the Pope is talking about changing that? And I feel like I heard this recently.
The Pope's definitely not talking about that, but people probably are hoping. And I think people have the impression that the Pope is softening on certain things. but this is if there is change, it's going to be like a millimeter by millimeter.
Yeah. It just feels like we're getting mad at the wrong people and in the wrong places. Like somebody who's looking to, I don't know, fulfill some sexual urges in a way that is with consenting adults, to me is much better than the ways that a lot of these priests are doing it with not consenting children.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they focused on gay hookup apps showed a bias towards condemning particular kinds of sexual acts.
Right. Because what would they have a problem with them being on a straight app and then going after some?
There was some. They did look at OkCupid, but for the most part, it was all Grindr. Every
time I hear the word OkCupid or hear that, I always think like somebody's being sarcastic. Okay, Cupid. Where it's like, I don't really want to love Okay, Cupid. Where like that sounds like the most hookup app there ever was, because I say it like okay boomer, like in my mind, like okay boomer, and every single time, and I've never used it myself, and so every single time somebody says that, I'm always like okay, Cupid.
Oh, you want me to date?
Oh,
okay,
you want me to
Cupid.
date? Okay, I'm just here to fuck, but okay, Cupid. That is what that makes me think of every time. So I thought I would share that with you, so you can enjoy that too. You're never going to hear it any other way from here on out.
Well, the people that are being outed about this are like having to resign and stuff. It's really disturbing, but I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't like it. I just like, I don't know.
I don't think that data should be available for
no.
That kind of thing anyway.
Right.
All right. That was the first order of business.
Man.
Okay. The second one was, there was this really cool article that someone wrote on Medium about artificial intelligence, you know, where you tell it to show you pictures of whatever and it generates images to match that. And they did a bunch of images that were people taking selfies like historically.
I saw this.
Okay.
Yes, like like selfies throughout history. If we took the Vikings and gave them like indigenous people and gave them a phone, like this is what their selfies would look like.
Okay. And when you saw those images, what was your what did you think about?
People throughout history have never been that happy. Way too many smiles.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was like. No, those Vikings didn't fucking smile. Those Vikings did what their version of smiling would be, and it would be like a display of maybe like you know, I don't know. I just feel like the faces that they're making are not historically accurate. AI.
Right.
Yeah.
So this Medium article was exploring that idea and how the images were really fun to look at.
They're fun.
And the people looked happy and cute and everything. But the article pointed out, yes, it's not historically accurate. That isn't how, indigenous people looked in the first images that we have of them, or, that I forget the name of that group that's like Samoan or Polynesian where they do the tongue out
Maori
thing. Yeah. Yeah. And so in that image, they're smiling, but in real life, they would do that like teeth bared, all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I think about the Vikings too. I'm like,
and so it was just talking about what we've talked about on the show before, which is the cultural component with regards to smiling at all.
Oh.
And how, we've talked about how in America, it became an important element because we're the melting pot. And so there was all these groups of immigrants who didn't necessarily speak the same language coming, and you wanted it to intimate friendliness and, you're safe. And so smiling became an important cultural component. And that's just not the case in other parts of the country or other parts of the world. And so like they were talking about how, for example,
I'm going to look this up now because I got to see.
Oh, let's see if I can find the stat that I was looking for. I'll just have to wing it, but it's something like they gave a bunch of people a ABC question. It was like, if you see a stranger like in a parking garage, what do? You smile and look away. You just look away. Or you sort of stare into their eyes and then look away. And I think it was like 90% of Americans said A. You know, you sort of smile and then look away. And only 14% of Russians answered this.
I knew you were going to say Russians.
Yeah.
I was like, because that is the place where if you smile at a Russian, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I went there, and the woman who in Russia, in order to get a visa there, if you have to go through a whole bunch of work to get one. But if you're just traveling, I was there with a cruise, and we had stopped in Russia. And if you want to get off the ship and go on to Russian soil, you have to have a like a tour guide. Like you have to hire somebody who's like a Russian representative that has to come with you everywhere you go all day. And she was talking to us about how ridiculous it is how Americans smile so much, and how if you smile like that, Russians are not smiling at you like that. They think it's weird.
They do. It said that they studied the reactions of more than 5,000 people from 44 cultures and showed them people smiling and not smiling of all different races and genders. And they found that the subjects who were socialized in cultures with low levels of uncertainty avoidance, which would be, like Russia, low levels of that. It refers to the level at which someone engages with norms, traditions, and bureaucracy to avoid ambiguity. Like you want to make it real clear.
Yeah.
In America, like, I am your friend. They are not into that. Okay. So the subjects considered the future to be uncertain, like the non-American type people. And smiling, which is a behavior associated with confidence, was unadvisable.
Because it's like saying, hey, don't worry about the future. And Russians like, we got to worry about this shit. You should not be smiling.
And they rate the Russians in particular rate the intelligence of a smiling face significantly lower than other cultures would rate a smiling face.
Wow.
They think we're
That's
dumb-dumbs.
like dumb. Like, yeah, you're just, what do they call that? Like
idiot American?
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah. You're like blinded by your own stupidity. Like you're dumb, happy.
Because, like smart people are usually miserable.
Yeah. Well,
so they assume if you're happy,
Susie,
you must be
you
ding dong.
have to see the movie Idiocracy. You're going to love it. Adam would love it. It's a great one.
Idiocracy is the new Interstellar.
Idiocracy is the new Interstellar.
It is, because you keep talking about it. I probably
funny.
would like it, though.
You would. You'd totally love it. And
so they found that people from countries with high levels of government corruption were more likely to rate a smiling face as dishonest.
Because they're like, I'm not buying any of this shit.
Yeah.
You guys are selling me a bill of goods. Don't be standing up there with your crooked ass smile. Okay. I'm into this.
Yep. And it said that
That's exactly what I thought when I looked at those selfie pictures. I'm like, those motherfuckers would not be smiling.
Yeah. And
it looks weird that they are. It looks goofy.
In countries like Russia, especially, for politicians, they think politics is serious business and important and deserving of a lot of it has gravity. Like you don't want to be smiling. So you should approach it with the seriousness that it deserves. And so they want their leaders to be stoic and all biz.
Yeah.
And we don't. Like we're all about is Hillary likable enough? Is whoever likable? That's this likability. Like, would you want to have a beer
really
with them?
How good are they at bullshitting?
Yeah. I mean, basically, we kind of love a bullshitter.
Like, I want him to be happy. No. Just, yeah. In
Right.
fact, I like, there was a video of AOC talking about the term woke and how, and she was like getting really angry in it. And like, not even angry, but like, I've had enough. Like, this is like, this is what they mean. This is silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, this is the energy I want. Stop fucking around. We're not, like, let's get serious, people. Stop with the stupid term. Like, define your terms. Let's talk about what this actually means. And I like that. I'm like, yeah, I like, get fucking serious.
I think you should also get Rothy's.
I'm fucking serious about Rothy's. Susie, every single time I go to an airport, I become like a Rothy's ambassador. I become like, no, you know how there's like drug sniffing dogs at the airport who are like, where are the bombs? Or bomb sniffing dogs or whatever. I am a Rothy sniffing dog at the airport where I'm like, I know they're around here. And then I see them and I'm just like, because they're what I wear. They are the perfect airport shoe. I'm telling you.
That's a good point because you don't want to look like a schlumpadink.
Correct.
With your jammies, you people that wear jammies to the airport, you're my enemies. No!
Susie, but here's what I do. I have a whole outfit. I have an airport outfit. It is a sweater almost like this. It's a beige sweater, like neutral sweater that matches my cream colored sweatpants. But they're nice sweatpants because they have like a cute drawstring on them.
I cannot believe you're wearing sweatpants.
Yes. But with the sweater, so it looks cute. Then this is the only outfit I wear at the airport. And the sweatpants and the sweater are the exact same color as those like cream off like white colored Rothy's. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm in like head to toe looking like,
all right. I bet you look chic.
East Coast chic. Yes.
Okay.
But they're
coastal
grandmother in my Rothy's, so comfy. And I just know if I send them through the machine and the machine got the weird things on them that like get shoes dirty and it gets gross in there, I could just wash them. No problem.
Okay, that's fair. I will allow it because I can picture it. It's probably cute.
Super cute.
And Rothy's are the best travel shoe because they're super comfortable, but you don't look like a schlumpadink. You look stylish and chic. They have all different styles. They have casual sneakers like I like, or they have fancy like point or
the ballet flat, adorable.
Oh yeah, the ballet flat.
The loafer, the driver they just got in.
I have some drivers. Yeah,
love the drivers.
They always have a million colors to choose from, and you feel good about wearing them because they're made out of plastic water bottles, which is insane. Yeah. And you can wash them. So they are good as new all the time. For stylish and sustainable shoes, shop Rothy's. Get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/braincandy. That's ROTHYS.com/braincandy.
These have been our Rothy's has been our sponsor since the start of the podcast.
Yeah.
I got my Rothy's when we started this.
Right.
I am still talking about the same pair. You might be like, oh, Sarah, did they say? Nope. These are the same ones. Same one. 8 years later,
and still just look amazing. They
still
do
my
not
airport
smell.
Outfit.
They're still our airport outfit.
Yeah, it's the same. Go to that. Just get the standard outfit to do the. I never have to think about it.
Bad idea.
It is my favorite.
All right.
And then I have this great puffer vest. It looks like a down comforter. It's like a vest, but it all the way to the floor. And it's like forest green.
Smart. Do you travel with that?
Yes. And I wear that over it. And that's why I can like fold it up and make it into a pillow if I need to. Pillow. Is that word funny? Pillow. And then you are warm if you're going from like Florida to Denver, which I came from the sunshine to the snow. So
yeah. Thumbs down for coldness. Down. Thumbs up for Rothy's.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Yeah. I mean, you get the idea. I just think that's interesting about, the way that, so like basically what you're asking AI to do is to make an image, but it's going to be based on most of the bulk of what's on the internet. And most selfies have people smiling in them.
What we lose is context.
Yeah. And so
this that's
article
very important.
Showed like the actual historical photos as juxtaposed with the AI ones. And you see how silly can be.
It really does look silly. Like, I'm going to hold up this picture. This is a picture of ancient Polynesians that they think would be taking a selfie like this. Nope.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Right. In real life, they're probably considering their enemy and they want to show strength, and whatever. It's just interesting.
Yeah. I think that is there's something that I'm seeing with these AI generated images, and anytime it goes through this AI filter, that they miss this lens that we like, this humanness that we see things through, like the ability to, like, another one was like fingers. Like, I saw something that like a lot of AI images were putting up like 6 or 7 fingers.
Yeah, they usually have the wrong number of fingers.
Wrong number of fingers, like, which is a weird thing. And that there are these little things that you can't really maybe point to what it is, but there's a human part of you that goes, no, that's not it.
I saw that there's a whole group of people on Reddit and stuff that are using ChatGPT for their therapy.
I have seen this too.
Yeah. So
I think it's like, in the same way, I think This Changes Everything, the therapy podcast, is so helpful for people and so wonderful to get like a generic overview of these
conversations.
To get the conversation started, to approach it in a way that feels, I don't know, more approachable, for lack of a better word. But there are limitations. There are things that there are those like that context, that the things that need to be taken into consideration, that human element, that what you can't duplicate with that is empathy, is being seen by another person. I'm a therapist who goes to therapy, and I know every fucking thing that my therapist is good. I know that. I know what they're going to tell me. I know this is what they need to hear. I know that, I need to give myself, I know all those things, but there is something. Like, this is what we used to call, when I was in grad school, therapy magic. We'd be like, I don't know what it is, but it's just like the therapy magic. There's something magical about when another person gives you that permission to feel how you're feeling. And you need it's like the tickling thing. You can't tickle yourself. You can't get the same empathy from an AI chatbot. You just can't. You can get an understanding of what grief is, what anxiety is, maybe like how intrusive thoughts happen, maybe like a better understanding of trauma theory, whatever that may be. But feeling seen and validated is something that only another human can do for you, I think. And worth every fucking penny, because I will pay a human to do. I need another person to just be like, yeah, you don't need to worry about that. You're fine. You're doing great. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And a computer can't do that for me.
Yeah. I mean, that goes for almost anything that people are trying to use AI for. I think writers are frustrated.
I bet.
But I think that, and there's probably lots of other industries that I'm not thinking of, but it's what a robot can produce is not going to be like what Toni Morrison could produce, or what
right, absolutely,
your favorite writer is. There's just something. It's like you said. There's magic in the ether, and I don't know what it is.
It is the in between spaces that are actually what everything is made of.
That's where life happens.
Yes. That is where the actual stuff, the majority of things live.
Well, and that's anybody that is
so
religious
crazy.
would know that's what church is. You can sing a hymn any old time. You could listen to a sermon anywhere you want. But church is that thing. Yep. It's a feeling. And it can be anywhere. You could have church at,
you mean the brain
diner.
candy podcast, book club, and documentary club, aka my church, and my place of healing. And oh my God, I'll cry just thinking about it. I'm going to cry right now. That is my church.
Yeah, that's church.
They helped me through all the tough times.
Yeah.
And I'm not alone. Everybody else who's a member has totally said the same. Yeah. That you can't duplicate even in a chat room.
No, transcendence is not something that can be replicated by a machine.
Right. And also, neither can my AI images, because Eli tried to give that stupid AI thing that like does your, AI portrait or whatever, images of me.
They couldn't pin you down.
Nope. I look too different in all my pictures. Not a single photo looked like me. If I show you all of them, you'd be like, who the fuck is this? Not one of them actually looks like me. So no, not impressed so far.
Right. And everybody knows this in their soul, but it's still scary. Like, oh no, like Levi's is getting robot models or whatever.
Right.
Okay. How about this was sent to us from, well, first I want to say, I should have already said this. We need to talk about Kitsch. Kitsch is the hair product.
I was going to say, you mean my amazing silk pillowcases that I can never live without? And let me tell you, if you're thinking that there isn't a difference between the pillowcases that you can get, like silk, there is.
Yes. Yeah. They protect your hair.
Oh, curly haired gals. The people want to know all the time, what is my secret to maintaining curls? And my number one is keeping the hair that you have. And in order to do that, I know that sounds great. You gotta just keep.
True.
It really is. We don't realize how much we do that damages our hair. Putting it in the wrong ponytail holders. Putting it in, like, I switched out my elastic bands. I use the Kitsch elastics because they slide out of the hair easy. I was breaking little bits of all the pieces in the front and then going, why do I have all these little tiny pieces? Oh, because I was using crappy rubber bands. And what made me realize it was that I read an article about the Gabby, what's her name? Who's the Olympian, the gymnast, Gabby. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, what's her last name?
But she was talking about how when she stopped competing professionally or whatever, she stopped wearing her hair in such a tight ponytail with the bad elastics. And all of a sudden her hair grew back. And I was like, wait a sec. I should care about this. Enter.
Enter Kitsch, because everybody focuses on what they do in the shower, like their products, and they forget as soon as they get out, and also I need to protect it in daily life. So you can get the towels that dry your hair better but don't damage it. You can get, like Sarah said, the satin pillowcases, the scrunchy hair ties. They have eye masks. There's this like deep conditioning shenanigan that I got because, I'm on my journey for recovery, my hair recovery. And it's amazing stuff. They have shampoo and conditioner bars, which are better for the environment, better for everybody. They last forever and they're really, really good. Bottle-free beauty, baby. You know how it is. Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/braincandy. That's right. 30% off anything and everything. At mykitsch. It's spelled mykitsch.com/braincandy. One more time, mykitsch.com/braincandy for 30% off your order. They have really nice stuff. Yeah, really good. Okay, so I guess I wanted to debate this. A Brainiac sent me an article or a little paragraph about how they had removed from Splash Mountain the Zippity Doodah song.
The whole ride. Now they've redone it. Now they
got rid of more stuff.
I think they had the last Splash Mountain as it originally is, like a month or two ago, and now they're changing it to a Frog Princess.
Oh, that's fun. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're redesigning it. I guess they initially removed what it sounded like they were saying Zippity Doodah, but from Songs of the South, which is a Disney film from like 1940 freaking 2 or something. Yeah, and it like glorifies slavery, the film, I guess. I don't know whether they mean Zippity Doodah from Mary Poppins. How many Zippity Doodahs can there be?
Zippity Doodah was from Mary Poppins?
Wait, it's not in that? So Zippity Doodah is only from that movie?
Yes. I think it's separate. Wow. I think that
I just know it in general.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Zippity Doodah is not in...
Wow, I really do know it. Because I thought, well, I've never seen Song of the South. I've never seen this film.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just...
Well, then that song, the one that we all know. They removed it, and because of the racist undertones of the film. What? What are you looking at?
Now I'm trying to think of where the hell that came from.
Yeah,
because
like, how do I know
what is it? You know what? Okay, this is what happened. In that song, it's live action and cartoons, I think. Okay. And I think what we're doing is our little kid mind is overlapping it with the live action and cartoons with the penguins. Yeah. And Gene Kelly.
But that's just that's Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, not Gene Kelly. But it's
like they just did Supercalifragilistic.
Yeah, and Supercalifragilistic.
Okay. Well, I don't know how I know Zippity Doodah then, but I do. And because of the movie being racist, everyone wants to get rid of this song in general.
Yeah.
And I've seen since Black Lives Matter became a big movement, I've seen this happen with certain things. Like, do you remember when there was that sort of viral thing about how like the ice cream truck song is racist or like what?
That the original lyrics to were racist.
What song though?
That oh gosh, I can't remember what it is.
It's a famous song, though.
This ice cream truck song, like the lyrics to it.
I only ever heard
it has lyrics, and they are.
But we don't ever know them.
We don't know them. No,
it's just like the ding dong song that the ice cream truck plays, or something. Okay,
yes.
So you'll see these periodically of like this thing that you do or say all the time is like secretly racist. Remember when somebody told us that heebie-jeebies is
spooky.
Spooky.
Right.
Okay. So I guess I want to talk about this element where like a song or a thing has maybe a racist history, but like nobody fucking knew about it until people started trying to come up with new content for social media to go viral. And then, the ice cream truck, whatever.
Right.
And so now I know, but like I sure as heck didn't know that then.
Right.
And so, like, do we have to get rid of everything that ever came from racism? Because we should just get rid of this whole country.
Right. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, that's kind of
what everything is built on.
Yeah, 100%. I think the problem lies when the the group that is doing the marginalizing, the group that is basically fucking white people for forever, when they have it's hard to sort out what things have a racial undertone and they are totally purely like in its original form racist and not things that have been adopted and then used as racial slurs. Like it's like, for example, I remember we were talking a while back about how there are a lot of phrases that create a negative connotation around the word black, blacklisted, the dark arts, like things like that, that we have tied to groups because of the ways that they have been used to marginalize and objectify and like hurt that group. but there is nothing inherently racist about the color black.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets very difficult when you use that term that then you also use to describe a group, and then use that in line with like negative, like it creates a negative connotation with it. It becomes so difficult to like separate and tease out all that and see like the that it's almost easier, or I don't know, easier is not the right word, but to just be like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore, than for everybody to understand the things that
the nuances of culture.
Yes, the nuance. Yes, thank you. That is exactly it. It is the way, like, I almost feel like for some reason, I feel like it's like that, similar to the phrase, like, oh, that's gay. Like what people were saying that for a long time. We're like, you can't do that anymore. We're not doing that. And
I guess with regard to that, or like the R word,
but
it's so much more explicit. And this is like so obscured that people have to tell each other, hey, did you know? If you have to tell me, did you know? It's probably not on the minds of the people who are supposedly
that is the biggest problem. That if somebody is a person of color, if a friend of mine who's black says to me, Sarah, don't say that. That is like definitely offensive.
Not one time has a black person ever said
zero
that.
0 times
to me.
I have absolutely welcomed that from my friend. Like, tell maybe in therapy, maybe in grad school at some point, somebody was like, yeah, don't do that. And I welcomed it, opened it. I'll be like, yes, tell me. I know I'm messing up. Tell me the things I'm doing wrong. But it's mostly white people who are policing my language.
Yes, it's white people policing each other.
Yeah.
And I'm so bored by it.
It's like the same, like we should be focusing our attention other places.
Exactly. If you put that energy into actually doing jack shit, I would be impressed. But it's all of these same people that are like, keyboard warriors, blah, blah, blah. Totally. And so it's, if something is real gross and we're missing it, I'd love to hear about it. But so far it's just been like a bunch of white people being like, oh, this thing 200 years ago started this word and then it morphed into the one we use now. And
And maybe like don't spend so much time being a keyboard warrior telling your white friends what they're doing wrong, when you could be using that same energy to shut the fuck up and amplify somebody else's voice and be like, let me give the microphone to somebody else who maybe hasn't had it for a really fucking long time, if not ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we should be using our privilege for, to create space to let other people tell us a thing or two, because we don't know a fucking anything.
Okay,
we don't.
Good. We're on the same page then, because
totally.
I was like,
100%.
Okay. I wasn't annoyed at the Brainiac. I was glad she sent it to me, because she just said, I would love to hear what you guys, folks have to say about this. And that's what we're doing. This person wasn't like, can you believe it? And you shouldn't talk about whatever.
Right.
And speaking of the you guys debate, because it is every day habitual. I have to correct myself about saying you guys. And the reason why for me that was important to work on was because if you reverse it, if you imagine, when you go on social media today, you will see about 50 people either say or type the phrase guys or hey, oh my gosh, you guys. If you imagine what that would sound like if everyone said, hey ladies, hey ladies, hey ladies, hey ladies, when you're not talking to just ladies, you start to see how stupid it is.
I've done this with the word girls. Anytime a man refers to a woman as a girl, I was hanging out with this girl. I was like, oh, really? Was she like 8 or 9 or how old? And you realize how often men refer to women as girls and how that is so fucking subtle. But it's infantilizing us in a big way in little small doses.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe that's what we're talking about here. It's like similar like that. And if I notice that.
But nobody, literally, zero
group,
people are
like,
doing that about Zippity Doo Dah.
No.
Unless I'm mistaken, and you can let me know if I am. But I'm like,
please let us know.
That song doesn't even have almost any actual English language words.
Right. Well, I think now looking it up, that may be part of it. That maybe there's something to that a lot of the words that are like.
Yeah, but nobody knows that
slang,
until now.
Right.
No, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No, so I'm looking up the lyrics right now. And it should be mentioned that the person singing this song is, I don't know his name, but he's a black artist. And the original version of that song from that Song of the South.
How do you know he's black?
Why? How do I know?
Yeah.
Because there's video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he's like singing with like some bluebirds and stuff. And there's a lot of... Well, yes,
I know that's
a bluebird on his shoulder. That's the whole thing. You know, Disney had to do something, and there are a lot of words that are in quotes, like "it's the truth," "it's actual," but that's not what they say. They say it's actual, ACTCH''LL. So there's a lot of like maybe it's saying like, I can see that, but
yeah. But did we know that before you just looked that up? No,
we did not.
And that doesn't mean we shouldn't get rid of it.
Correct.
I'm just saying.
And that also doesn't mean we shouldn't look it up and know some things.
Yeah. And if it is hot garbage, all right, we'll get that zippity doo right the heck out the door. But I just.
Zippity doo dah, goodbye.
I'm always suspicious when it's like something that we've never even, including the people that are supposedly being oppressed by it, have never thought about. I don't know. I'm not.
That will always remind me of the Dave Chappelle bit that he did where he says that he has a white lawyer and he likes to trick him with like black phrases every now and then saying things. So he would say like, all right, buddy, zip it up and zip it out, just like to mess with him. And the lawyer goes, oh, okay, zippity doo dah, bye-bye. Because he doesn't know how to respond to like black phrases. So he just makes them up. And, okay, zippity doo dah, bye-bye. So that will always remind me of that. That is a great Dave Chappelle
and
bit
there are a
from
lot of those
Killing Me
things.
Softly. It is so great.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I fully... Like, I hope that people of color just messing with white people as much as possible.
Yeah,
just, like,
please
do it
that.
all the time. Just like it's the least that like they deserve, and by they I mean me. Just do it, me totally 100%. I always tell a joke with Eli. I'm like, when he talks about like, you know, my family has been in this country for a long fucking time. Like we were like original.
Mayflower shit.
Yeah. Like there are like the Rice family's been here so long. Like I know we have done some fucked up shit. Like if anybody needs to be like working to amplify some other voices, it's the old Rice family over here. Because we definitely owe people a lot. I know it. Way too comfy in this nation for way too long.
Well, hey. Knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
Wasn't that G.I. Joe's catchphrase?
Really?
I think so.
I feel like his would be like a little more like, smash.
One word.
Yeah. No, that was Hulk.
Hulk smash. All right. I guess that's all for now. This was real fun. Thanks for all your advice and like weighing in on all that stuff.
But now I want to know what the G.I. Joe slogan is.
Yeah, it is that because he says
now you know and knowing is half the battle. Yes. What? Why was G.I. Joe giving us like a subtle PSA?
Because at the end of the show there was one. It was always like they would include like some sort of tip, and then it was like
G.I. Joe.
Sometimes strangers will offer you candy, but you shouldn't take it. And now you know, because knowing is half the battle.
If you're a priest, definitely don't go on Grindr. And now you know, because knowing is half the battle.
Exactly, right? G.I. Joe. And G.I. Joe would know about like ambiguously gay shit.
Please. That guy's definitely a bottom.
Oh my God, he is not. He's topping it.
Please.
Wow, he's
taking it.
Taking it.
I do think so.
All right. Okay, here's what we learned.
So much.
I will let you know about Comic-Con because...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
What would you wear? Oh, you said a blazer. You said.
Low-cut top. Like, we're talking...
Oh, right. Tits
with out.
Class.
But, like, I know... Okay, you're going to do low-cut shirt with the blazer, with the elbow pads.
Oh, I love like whatever. This. I love
then
this
with
idea.
your, like, jeans. Then with some heels.
What kind of jeans, though?
You can go either way. You can even get away with like a distressed, like more like wide, like like ankle cut wide leg. Just make sure you're showing off the heels. He's gonna need to see you in heels. I don't know why, but Kelsey Grammer likes a gal in heels.
Obviously, I'm wearing heels.
Obviously, she's no dummy.
Anyway, we got to go. We're running.
Yeah,
we're
those
running
new
overtime.
Jimmy's shoes that you have with like the. Or are they Louboutins? One of the two. I think they're Jimmy Choos. And then you wear those with like a pair of like tight jeans. And then you wear like your Skims little shirt that you have. And then you wear your blazer on top. And with like hair down, or you could do like a side part low pony because that's very classy. Big earrings.
Big earrings, like you know who thinks. There was a celebrity that told me I had nice earrings, but he did not mean earrings.
That's what I was going to make a joke and say you need to make sure you wear good earrings to Comic-Con. But I was like, I didn't know if we were making those kind of jokes.
We're not naming names, though, so it's okay.
Susie needs to wear some nice earrings.
All right, bye, people. Bye.